So, welcome, visionaries. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we're here with Phil Santos, founder of Body Talk, a local community here in Orlando. So, Phil, for everyone who hasn't heard of Body Talk yet, could you give us a brief description?
Sure, yeah. So the way I like to describe it is that Body Talk's like Burning Man meets a backyard house party.
Nice.
It's just a low-key kind of monthly dance party that happens in Orlando. We've been doing it for 4 years, and it's about creating a nightlife experience that's both positive in terms of like healthy and sustainable for your life, but then also healthy in terms of you're gonna make a lot of positive connections, lasting connections, and real friendships through all the activities and games and crazy things that we do.
Right. I definitely get that vibe. Every time I come, it's like I meet new people every time, and they're always super nice and welcoming, and it's always a good time. So, what made you start Body Talk?
Yeah, that's a good question. At first, I didn't know this, but so I started it because I had friends that moved away. There were some really cool party houses. There were cool places to go. And then after those people left, I was like, oh, all my friends are still here and we all want to hang out, but there's nowhere to go. There isn't a venue or an avenue for that. And it came out of that need to like want to see the people who I loved more regularly in kind of a party environment. And it wasn't until about a year ago that I realized that when I was younger, like when I was in middle school, I was kind of a loner. I didn't have a really strong friend group or really much of one at all. And the way that I made friends and the way that I found community was I was a 14-year-old with a little afro, like going to ska shows and like hardcore shows and finding community through music. So I've realized recently that, oh my God, like when I look back, there's a through line that makes sense that music was always a big part of that.
I can definitely relate to that. I feel like I find my best friends in the hobbies and interests, when I go out, those types of things. I've actually been attending Body Talk for probably like the past 6 months. Woo, yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't figured out, what does Body Talk mean, like the name?
The name?
Yes.
Yeah, so body is, dancing. Talk is the outside space where you get to hang out and you get to relate with other people. Body talk is like, it's when you make a dance move on the dance floor, you're like communicating with other people.
It's like an expression.
So, it's expression through music, expression through dance, and actually conversation, because we always have an outdoor space where people can talk, right? Like loud music is so great because you want to feel immersed, but it's amazing to have an outdoor space away from the music where you can hear what someone's saying.
Right. Yeah. I know. I didn't even think about that. I guess it was just so perfect. It's perfectly planned out. So when you were thinking about starting this, what made you finally take that leap to do it?
I was such an annoying little kid. Like 4 years ago when I started it, I don't know if there was a moment where I was like, now I'm taking a leap. It was actually very progressive. Like I was DJing at UCF house parties, and I would bring my speakers to house parties without anyone asking, because I was like, hey, do you guys need a DJ? Okay, let me play a few songs. And like I was just annoying. And even before that, I was like the annoying kid who would hog the iPod cord like in the car. And so when I started it, it was a very natural progression from like doing UCF house parties to playing at a venue or two to, let me just, create my own space for a night. So there wasn't like a moment.
Yeah, yeah. And when you did finally start the Body Talk event, did you expect it to be running for this long?
No, no. It's so hard to imagine. I just wanted to have fun with my friends. Like, it was so simple. I was like, I'm not having enough fun. I'm not seeing my people enough. Let's have fun tonight. And like, oh, this is great. People like it. Let's do it again. And then, 4 years later, it's turning into something even bigger.
Definitely very natural. Yeah. So what do you think is the success of it? Like, what other factors other than just having a lot of fun go into a great event?
Thanks for saying it's successful. I get down on myself and Body Talk all the time. If we do have any success, I think it comes from like a few things that make it a little different than the average party. Okay. The first one is we always choose a space that fits the number of people. Like so many times we'll go to a party and it's the venue's too big
Yeah.
for the number
Yeah.
of people,
Yeah.
and that's immediately takes out all the energy.
Yeah.
So always making sure that the space is right, and then always making sure that there's a great talking place where people can talk to each other that's quiet away from the music. We always have a lot of activities. I think that's where we really differentiate. Like there's the face painting, there's the name tag game, there's little fortunes that you grab that's like open this at midnight and tell someone 3 compliments about them or something like that. There's mindfulness games now. There's always a dance floor and a rock band and a DJs, and just how many more things can we put in here to give people things to do. So I think that's really key to throwing an amazing event, is giving people more to do than buying a drink and dancing.
Right, right. Yeah, it's definitely an awesome event, and you can tell that you have a great team.
Yeah.
So what aspects of a person are you looking for when you expand your team and you add a new person?
So it's always extremely natural and organic. When we're bringing on someone new, like we haven't really had to put out calls like we're looking for people.
Okay.
People just kind of gravitate towards it, and someone who might volunteer and volunteer again will just kind of want to hang around more.
Yeah, yeah.
It tends to be people who, yes, they love to dance, yes, they love nightlife, but then also they have like a really good heart and they want to help people.
Yeah, they just want to be a part of it.
Yeah, like they see the value that Body Talkers get from going to Body Talk, and they're like, oh my God, like I've gained so much from this. I want to become close to the people who are doing it, and I want to be part of the engine that's causing this change in the city.
And have you seen that same organic growth like on your social media?
It's been so slow and steady. You know, we've hosted like upwards of 12,000 people in Orlando, but we only have like 2,500 likes or something on Facebook.
Okay.
It's not that it's a huge number. It's that it's highly engaged.
Okay.
So the way it's grown has just been, first and foremost, thinking about my social media people as a tribe, as a community, as a place to give value, and not as people who are following us no matter what we do.
Yeah, it definitely has a more friend feeling than like I'm a follower feeling in a good way.
It's not like, hey, buy this thing.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
hey, what do you guys want? What do you guys want us to create? Comment here, and then like replying to everyone and knowing people in person. I think is really big.
For sure.
The only people who really comment are the people who I've like shook hands with, like, or people who come out actually. You know, it's a very like local, regionalized community.
Yeah, that's definitely very important. Like knowing your audience and like having that face-to-face connection before just social media.
Yeah.
Like not even do you consider yourself an event producer, by the way?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, because it does have a different feeling. It does have a family feeling, so it's more like it doesn't have that like event vibe, I guess.
Right. It's not. It's like the difference between a crowd and a tribe.
Exactly.
Like a crowd is like, why am I here? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people here. Cool. And it's kind of anonymous. But then a tribe is kind of like, oh, we're kind of all here for the same purpose. You know?
Right.
Maybe we have the same values, or we read the About Us and like saw that radical self-expression, or you're tuning into the same vibe. So
for sure.
I think that's why it feels different.
For sure. So now that you guys do have this successful event and it's been long running, what was the moment when you were like, hey guys, why don't we do a festival? Because you do have a festival coming up.
Yeah. So the first time we ever did a festival was to promote Bernie Sanders.
Oh, perfect.
That's what we did last year. So we did a thing called Bernie Fest. It was amazing. We raised like $2,600 for, that political campaign, like helping the people, tax the banks, jail the bankers, all that stuff. So into that. So it kind of came from the momentum of doing that festival into like, oh wow, like we really struck a nerve here. People really wanted to come out, and yes, it was political, but this time it's really about seeing the cultural renaissance that's happening in Orlando right now. All the dope crews, like in the last 2 years, people have gone from, I hate Orlando, I'm moving to LA, to let's stay in Orlando and let's build something, because there's a lot of potential here. So it's about celebrating that, and yeah.
I actually read a really good quote the other day, and it said, I hate Orlando because of how much I love it. And it's like you keep thinking you hate it, and then one day you're like, wait, but it's pretty cool, and like there's cool people, and I actually really enjoy this. So I'm super excited about your festival coming up. What can we expect when we go?
Contact. So it's called Contact Music Fest. You can expect the dopest lineup of local musicians. Like if you haven't been going to shows in a long time, if you don't really go to Will's and Space Bar and all that, you're gonna be blown away by the local music scene that we have here. It's incredible. We have like Million Young coming from Miami, and Gary Laser Eyes, who won Best Rock and Roll Act last year. Awesome. Eugene Snowden, who's been like playing on the guitar for 40 years, and he like dances and does his own thing. So
that sounds
there's gonna be
super cool.
a lot of really good music.
And what about your workshops and your panels?
Yeah, so there's also going to be amazing panels. I think it's really amazing to have this opportunity to actually build up our local audience in terms of the people who live in Orlando. How can they learn more about, whether it be social activism panels, or we have a music industry panel that's focused on helping musicians grow DIY music brands on a small budget. It's about putting those leaders in a position where they can help teach the new people who are going to start new things.
That's perfect. I really like that. What specifically are you, just as Phil Santos, looking forward to the most?
It's so selfish. I'm gonna close out the festival at 1 a.m. So
okay.
Sandwich bar. I mean, I think I like to DJ. I think I'm kind of good. I'm just stoked to play.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be an amazing crowd, and especially after all the energy, I think people are going to be really drunk and really ready to dance hard at 1 a.m.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Well, I know us here at Band Basher are super excited for the music panel and all the great knowledge that we're going to get out of it. So I just want to thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
And
thanks for hosting
speaking with us about all the cool things you have going on. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, watching. Keep updated for what Band Basher is going to do next, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, too.